Hi, je suis Vic James, l'auteur de Gilded Cage, which is out now in France as Les Puissants, which I think is a most amazing title. Anyway, I'm delighted that Nathan has invited me to answer some questions, so here goes. Could you tell us the story of Gilded Cage in a few words? Okay, here goes. Gilded Cage is set in an alternate modern Britain. This is now. These are people leading lives just like yours, but with one big difference. This is a world ruled by a 1% that has magic. If you don't have magic, if you're the 99% of us, you've got to give them 10 years of your life in service. What inspired you to write Gilded Cage? Well, there's two things really. When I was little and we would go on summer holidays each year, we would drive along this road which has a really long wall. It's the longest wall in England, and behind it is the magnificent stately home of an aristocratic family. And I remember I would sort of look at the window like this, and I would look at the wall and I would imagine why it was built, who was it keeping in, and who was it keeping out. So I never forgot the wall. And then a couple of years ago, my day job when I'm not writing is that I make television documentaries, and I was making a series called The Super Rich and Us, and it was about this new elite class, the 1% and the 99%. I lived at a time when there was a lot of protest going on, the Occupy movement, and I was trying to explore in that series the effect that the 1% have on all of us. And I was interviewing billionaires, like you do, and the thing I realised was that they had so much money that they almost had magic. That, you know, there wasn't anything that they couldn't do with this money. And the idea went off, and I just thought, I want to write this story. And then I remembered the wall, and you will meet the wall in the very opening scene of Les Puissants. Why did you choose young adults as your main characters? Now, this is interesting. The inequality that I wanted to look at is falling most hard on young people. You have to pay to go to university, you leave university with debt, yet you have to pay rent, you have to, one day buy a house if you wish. And it's young people who are carrying all of this most heavily. And yet it's also young people who are the ones that have the courage, the vision, the hope to stand up and to say, we want change. So for me, a story like this, it was obviously and always going to be about young people. Your characters are not all good or bad, which is very interesting. I love interesting people, and I think most people, let's be honest, we're, a little bit of bad even in the really good people. I also like people who have a little bit of good when they're really bad, so you'll meet some of them as well in Gilded Cage. You have always been a big reader. Could you tell us about your particular connection with books and with writing? Okay, well that's quite easy. So I've been reading all my life. I was one of those kids, my parents would let me read at the dinner table. I would go to sleep with the book on my face. My mother joined me to 3 libraries just to make sure I had a good supply of books. But books were always something quite special in my family because my family background, my parents didn't have great access to education and didn't grow up in homes with books. So it was always an opportunity that they wanted to give me and my brother. So I went to university, I did English. I always loved writing, and I always dreamed of writing a novel one day, but I never had the idea, the perfect idea. And then of course it came one day when I had almost given up on the idea that I would ever write a book. And it happened when I was really busy at work, but I just knew, I had to grab this idea and hold on to it and write it right now. So I joined a website called Wattpad, which is a fabulous place where, if you don't know it, you can just go write, post your writing, other people will read it and they will tell you if they like it or not. For me, I just used that every week. I would put up a chapter. I promised myself, you can do that. It's just a little thing. You can do that. And that was how I wrote Gilded Cage. And then I polished it up a little bit. I made it better. And then I sent it out there into the world. And now it's coming to France. And I'm just like, oh! Okay. Do you have writing habits or rituals, favourite place, time of day, or music? Okay, that's quite easy. I'm one of those annoying people who wakes up really early. So I sit down in my favourite place, which is right here at my desk where I am now, and I never listen to music. I have to write in absolute silence, and that's because I am listening to my characters talking to me, and then I just hope I translate them onto the page. And I am so excited that in France now you are also going to be listening to the stories that they all told me, and I really hope you love Les Puissants